What the
This is
fuck
the
are you
se-
waiting for?
Damn it. Well, because I don't
Well,
know. You don't
stop
give me.
interrupting.
I used to say when
Why
we
are
did
you?
Crit C, I used to say we're
Go,
live, and then everyone knew we were live. You just hit the button and expect the show to go.
pretend like we're live. We're live to us.
Am I reading the intro now? I don't want. I want someone else to read.
Well, there's
This
only you and me. You
this
don't
is
want
the
me to read
send.
it.
God
God
damn it.
damn it.
I'm editing this all out. This is the Send It Show, where we talk about the world of precision rifle shooting. We are not experts. Our show is based off our opinions, which are always changing and evolving. Word of warning, the show is uncensored. If you're offended by foul language, we recommend finding a more professional source. If you want to hear two average guys break it down in simple terms, then stick around. I'm Alec, and with me here is Roden, and this is the first episode of the Send It Show. How you doing, bud?
Chillin'. Tell that fucker to stop honking.
There's only so much. Should I open fire?
Let's give it like a few seconds. If he
Give
does it
him another
again, I
chance.
don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Let's not lose
Uh,
our heads.
right. Not worth it. Roden and I are two average dudes, zero credentials, no formal training, and neither of us have served in the military, but we're both passionately obsessed with precision shooting and everything that surrounds the sport. So we're here to talk to you about that.
Basically, take everything we say with a grain of salt. Do your research. Double check everything we say. We might be wrong. Write us in. We're still learning, and I'm always going to be learning. I think the day I stop learning is probably the day I stop doing this, which it seems like it's going to be never. So, um, what did you want to talk about, Alec, for our first episode?
Well, we're gonna come at this from hopefully a different angle than people are used to. Today's episode is going to be about getting into precision shooting with what you may already have.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea because, well, I mean, you know how expensive that shit gets, right?
Yeah, and that's it can be a huge barrier to entry, or at least look like a huge barrier to entry when you see people with their fancy whiz bang rifles and all their gear and shit.
Yeah, the important thing to remember is most people started the way like what you have right now. Um, it shouldn't stop you from getting into the sport just because the other guy next to you has like a $3,000 setup. You know, he started somewhere as well, and at the same time, we don't want you to go and spend money on something that you may not like. I guarantee that once you get the fundamentals, and if you're even interested in the hobby, you're gonna fall in love with it. But you know, let's face it, it's a lot of money. Like when you want to get to the higher levels, and don't worry about what you need right now. You'll know what you need as you go along.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, a lot you need to learn and practice with to get to where you know what you don't know, kind of thing.
Right, because you could end up buying a bunch of equipment that you realize, oh, you didn't really need. It's just the other guy had it. Um, and it's gonna happen regardless. But it's good to know what you're lacking and go about that. Everyone's different. Everyone has different criteria, so just start off with what you need. So, Alec, why don't you break it down?
Well, first thing you're gonna need, obviously, is gonna be a rifle. Um,
Like, what kind of
hopefully,
rifle?
any kind of rifle, literally any rifle.
Okay.
No. um, hopefully you've got a rifle that's capable of minute of angle accuracy. Um,
Well, do
minute
you
of
want to tell them? Yeah. Sorry.
yeah, minute of angle is for the purposes of this episode, this conversation. Minute of angle is 1 inch at 100 yards, 2 inches at 200 yards, etc. It's a way of measuring accuracy. Expressed as an inch value at a certain distance.
Okay. So for the listeners who we've already lost, it would be one of someone like me. Uh, just starting off first episode. I don't know any of this shit. I shoot long range. I don't know the math. The math was the main reason why I didn't get into it. It was overwhelming. My mind just doesn't work that way. It's you. There are certain little things like what Alec just said. You probably should know, but don't worry about all the other numbers and the mills and the. Trust me, like as we move along, we'll explain it, but you don't need to know everything. If you just want to do it as a fun hobby, um, you'll learn what you need to learn. That's
Yeah,
pretty much how it goes. But yeah, sorry, Alec. 1 inch, 100 yards. Go on.
1 inch at 100 yards, 2 inches at 200 yards. So ideally, a rifle that is capable of accuracy of at least an inch at 100 yards.
So your
You
shots are going into 1 inch, like a 1 inch
for
uh, group, basically.
now you might be saying to yourself, "Well, I've got XYZ rifle, and the best I can get it to do is an inch and a half or 2 inches at 100 yards."
Mm-hmm.
That might not be your rifle. That might be an ammunition issue.
Yeah, it, it
Um,
it could be. Yeah,
should we talk about the? No, we'll talk about scopes first, and then we'll get into the.
let's do scopes. Let's do. Okay, so like you're probably gonna need a scope. What do you think? Get a new scope. What What do you recommend?
If you have a scope,
Hmm.
just about any scope, there's no reason you can't get started into precision shooting.
Okay, so if you have like a deer rifle, it's probably gonna have like a three to nine, right?
3 to 9, yeah, most likely.
Duplex, fine, whatever. No subtension reticle, probably.
Standard crosshairs.
Standard crosshair. Okay.
Um, you may or may not have a scope that has hash marks, which are subtensions.
Okay. And
Um, if you do, even better, but you don't need them.
yeah, huge plus. But right now, we're just trying to see how we could get you out there without having to buy. I can't say anything because what's the next thing?
Are we moving on?
If you want to
I,
talk
I want
about,
to I want to say real quick in the scope, if you do have the scope that has hash marks, um, you probably will want to be using that scope at its maximum magnification because those hash marks will only be true to a specific value at a specific setting. Uh,
so
that
those
is, sorry, go ahead.
those settings could be probably found in your instruction manual.
Yeah,
Um,
your instruction manual will say what those values are at what setting they're true at, what magnification. Most often, this will be maximum magnification, but not always.
Right. If you already know off the top of your head, if you have a second focal plane or first focal plane, Alec is referring to second focal plane scopes. Um, if you already know the difference, then that's what he's talking about. If you have a first focal plane, don't worry about it. And if for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, don't worry about it. Like Alex said,
Yeah, if you don't know, don't sweat it. We'll get you there in later episodes.
just don't buy shit before before you listen to that episode.
Right. Hold off all your buying until you hear what we say you should do.
Yes.
That's how this goes, right?
Yeah, because the way it's gonna go is like you go online, you go to a website, you buy each of us one of whatever you're gonna buy, and then you buy yourself.
That reminds me, did the check from Vortex come in yet?
Still waiting for it, so
That
don't
that
yeah.
bastard.
Yeah. It could be anyone right now. It could be Vortex is the best scope, it could be Loophole. I don't know. Let's see who sends in the bigger check.
Okay, ammo.
Ammo is important. This is probably
Ammo,
the one thing you're
super
gonna
important.
have to spend money on. Look, we're saving you thousands. We're asking you to spend, I don't know.
A
Not gonna be,
premium.
yeah, premium. You're gonna have to do it, or else it's it'll never work out. It's not gonna work. And it's
It
gotta be the same thing, like the same ammo, same grains, same brand. Shit. If you could get same lot, it'd be even better. I don't know if that's that important right now, but
I
yeah,
wouldn't stress that too much. But
yeah,
the match grade ammunition, it tying back to what I said about if you think your rifle is not accurate enough, it may well be. Match grade ammunition is manufactured to much tighter controls than your run of the mill factory ammo. It will shrink your groups. It will give you more consistent results. So if you got a minute and a half rifle, try some match grade ammo. You might be surprised.
Yeah, try to go non-hunting. We're going more for uh what's called BC, but the guys at the counter or like I mean fucking Google will let what people are running out there that see what the guys who are running matches are running. If you have any questions, you could always write us in. But match ammunition is important and the same type. So if you go and buy a Hornady and you found like let's say uh, I'm just gonna use the example of 140s. Um, don't try to do this process with like burgers because while probably very little there might be differences, but we're trying to keep it as consistent as possible.
Well, and you should, starting out, you should buy two or three different brands and bullet weights of your match grade ammunition and just shoot groups because your rifle will have a strong preference for one combination of those things. And
So
there's no way to know what it is, right? Your buddy might have an identical rifle, one serial number apart, that likes a different grain weight, different manufacturer, different bullet, etc.
absolutely, that is ideal. you don't you don't have to, I guess, but that is ideal. That's one way. When you buy a new rifle, people buy several different brands, maybe different grains, and they try it out and see which performed best out of their rifle.
Right.
Okay,
So do we feel good about that? That sums up
I
match
think
grade ammo.
match grade ammo. Okay, no, one more thing. Because are we going to ballistic calculator after this?
You could.
Okay, let's do that. Just for disclaimer, it would be ideal if you could get some kind of ballistic calculator software. I mean, every phone out there has it right now. They have free options. Some manufacturers have it on their website. Um, you don't have to pay for it. In fact, don't. Just don't. Like, just keep it simple. Um, where what I want to say about the match grade ammo and the ballistics calculator is before you buy your ammunition, look and see what that software has as far as loadouts preloaded, so that you don't have to deal with punching too many numbers. And some manufacturers will have numbers for this certain type of cartridge, some won't. And make sure you're looking at cartridges and not bullets because we're not reloading right now.
Yeah. So to sum that up, your ballistics calculator will have factory load options pre-programmed into it.
Correct.
It'll make your life a whole lot easier if you buy ammo that is already programmed into that calculator.
Yep. But with
Okay.
that, mm-hmm.
Next thing we need.
A bag.
Yeah,
It's not optional.
totally optional.
No, no. Get
Rear
yourself.
support. Rear support is not optional. Bag is optional. What Roden's talking about is audio listeners. We fight about this one. Roden's talking about. You tell him. Describe the bag.
So, just any kind of you could make this yourself. Honestly, you don't have to go out and spend money. Get an old pair of jeans, cut the legs, um, put
Sock.
put a sock, fill it with. Go a little heavy. Don't go too light. You can use airsoft pellets. Um, man, just something that's like when compressed, it could kind of move around, but you want
Sand.
some kind of sand would work. We'll get into equipment further down the line, but just keep it simple. Get yourself like a rear bag and something that the rest on, and at the same time you could squeeze so that stock goes up and down, because that's how we're making adjustments on when we're shooting.
A rear bag is going to help you severely reduce the amount of tremble and wobble you see in your reticle when you're trying to break a shot.
Right. The biggest factor is always going to be the shooter, in my opinion.
I agree, especially when you don't use a bag.
So you agree that you should use a bag?
My offhand is my bag. Roden definitely does it the easy way.
Get the fuck out of here. No, I do it the right way. Real men don't shoot with bags, okay?
No, you
He
get
has
out of
never
here,
said that. He's never said that.
sissy bag.
Yeah. But no, it helps. No, I think it's not. You need it. God
you
damn it,
you
go get a
need
bag.
you need to support the rear of your rifle. How you come upon that's your choice, but definitely,
Moving
definitely
on,
make
moving
your
the
life
fuck
easier
on.
with a bag.
Moving on. How about a tape measure? A rangefinder.
Tape measure rangefinder.
Unless you already know what your distance is at the range, if you're gonna shoot at the range, uh, you need one of those just so we could get the yardages.
Yeah, it's important to accurately measure distance to target. Because otherwise you're not zeroing right, and if you're not zeroing right, any errors you make are going to be magnified at range.
You want to know something fucked up? My
What?
range is not all like exact.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
600 is like 588 or something,
Really?
and then 1,000 is actually like 9 990. So, and it's like fine, it's not a big deal, but fuck you, cause like sometimes I'm at the range and like shit's not lining up on the calculator, and
Right.
it's like, well, it would have been nice to know exactly what that is. I would have gone based off that. Yeah, that's it. That's my
Really?
rant.
Yeah, you wouldn't like go through all the trouble of making a range that long, you'd think.
Yeah, totally.
So, tape measure rangefinder, way to accurately measure distance to target.
Notebook, pencil, calculator. So I mean, you have a calculator with you all the time. Your phone, notebook. Get a notebook. Yeah, you could make notes in your on your phone, but no, get a notebook. It could be like one of these from the pharmacy. It doesn't have to be a dope book or anything like that. Just get a notebook. We want to write down information. Um, and we already talked about ballistic software. Um, so what do you think? Targets?
Real men write in pen.
God damn it. Oh, this is gonna be a long series now, isn't it?
uh, yeah, targets. You
What's
want
the was it the Russians or the Americans that were the Americans were trying to come up with a pen, right? For
the
the
space
space
pen?
mission, the space pen, right?
Yes.
They spent like I don't know how much money like doing the research, like something that writes in like zero gravity, and the Russians come back with like this number,
Cosmonauts just used a pencil.
just a pencil.
Yeah, but you know what? I've heard the argument made that like graphite pencils leave particulate in the air, and that's not good in zero gravity.
Yeah, I mean it probably gets in your equipment. I mean, I'll
If
worry
you're
about that the next time I go to space. So,
fair enough.
um,
Targets 1 inch grid. Um, you don't have to have a 1 inch grid, but it's gonna help you out a whole lot.
yes.
Also, shoot and see. Is shoot and see a brand?
I think it's not a brand, but I think it's like probably copyrighted. I think Birchwood Casey makes those, right?
Yes, I believe you're right. So, listeners, shoot and see targets they're a black target, and they have like a fluorescent layer underneath the black, so that when you shoot it, it makes you can see a fluorescent splash. It makes it a lot easier to see your hits at range.
You know you can make those, right? Have you seen those YouTube videos?
I have, yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
That's a good idea.
So and the one thing I would take white targets with you too, just regular ones, because I personally have difficulty seeing the my reticle, like my black reticle over the black
Black
targets.
target. Yeah,
But
that's fair.
Alec, I think no one other than me has this issue. So hey, you know, that is what
Um, well, yeah, and like to that note, whatever works for you. But shoot and see targets are great. They make it a lot easier for hits when you're. Oh,
yeah, that's actually a very good point, especially if we're gonna be using 3 to 9s, and then we go out to distance. Yeah, good. Yeah, good call.
mhm.
All right, so is that pretty much it? What do you think?
That's what we've got for equipment list. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah.
Um,
So how
did
do?
you want to talk about dialing with a discount hunting scope?
Okay, we could do that. So the scopes we were referring to, probably what you have at home, might look something like this. Um,
Roden's holding up a Bushnell 3 to 9.
this is a fixed 6, but yeah, 3 to 9, and
Okay.
as you could see, the turrets are capped. So normally, what you do is, you uncap your turrets. You go to the range, you set it at whatever distance, you set your target whatever distance you're more than likely going to be, hunting at, and you line it up, and then you put the cap back on. That's it. It's set. So I don't hunt. Most people I've talked to, like actually one of my buddies, he pretty much sets his at 200, because he says anything between 50 yards and 200 is pretty much a hit. That's what he's calculated, I guess. But
It'll all put it in the kill box.
right. So our turrets have numbers on them, like this one.
Yeah,
Um,
the turrets have a face on top of them with markings delineating the value of each click of the turret and which way to turn it for adjustments.
right. And so there's like lines, and there's thicker lines, and usually the little lines are sub values of a whole line. So a whole line would be, this scope I'm holding is minutes of angle. So each line, thicker line you see is 1 minute of angle, and the ones between would be quarter, because there's like four in between.
Almost every minute of angle scope you will ever see will be adjustable in quarter minute increments.
And your mills will
So
probably be in tens,
tenth of a mil.
tenth of a mil. Yeah,
Right. So it takes 4 clicks to equal 1 inch at 100 yards.
correct.
Remember we said earlier about a minute of angle is an inch at 100 yards, quarter minute of angle, quarter inch.
Right. So basically, in the most simple terms, if you go out, you set up your target, and you see all your shots are landing 1 inch low, what you want to do is what Alex said: bring it up 4 clicks, 4 quarters, which equals one, to bring it up 1 inch at 100 yards. That's it. Um, Honestly, if you don't, that's great to know to save ammunition, but you could walk it in too. You see it
Mm-hmm.
shooting low, go up. Make bold adjustments. That's how I do it.
Spin it, see where you land.
Yeah, no. Sometimes it's like, but it's not fucking doing anything. Yeah. So it's that's very true at even closer distances at 50 yards.
Well, and on that note, it's probably worth pointing out on those cheaper scopes, while they'll get you where you need to go, um, those values might not be quite accurate.
Yes.
Um, it may take you 5 clicks to get to an inch at 100 yards. That's just something you'll have to figure out with your personal equipment at hand.
Yes, and just one more thing. I found that some of these um value optics, sometimes there's like little I think prisms, or I don't even know what the mechanism is. Sometimes when you click it, even if you hear a click, nothing really goes on inside. And what happens is, um when you fire off a round, it'll then sit in place, but what you shot was your previous dial. So you start dialing again, and now you're even higher than you're supposed to be. So dial, take a shot. If it didn't work out, take another shot, see what happened, because then you'll just be playing with it all day. Just sorry. We warned you. We warned you.
where, where were we?
Yeah. You
Lost the
said
thread
you
of
said
playing with it
something
all day.
about yeah. All right. So here it is. Um, for the viewers, there's a green line over there and a little notch. Actually, I already had that notch, the white notch. Um, that green line is actually what we were talking about. It's on the turret. It's on where the lines are.
So you've used like a marker to put a witness mark on there.
Correct. So, say I went to the range. I set it up. This is how it looks. Forget the green line, and I set it up. I shot, and after adjusting and adjusting, basically I got to where this right here, where these two lines meet, is my actual zero at 100 yards. So I went ahead and marked that.
So, audio listeners, real quick, Roden has put a mark on the face of the dial itself, and he has put a corresponding mark on the body of the scope where the cap turret screws onto. So
Right,
he's saying once you've established zero, you can mark the scope for your reference that is your point of zero.
right. No other number that came with the scope really matters. There actually is a zero here. Forget that. This is your new zero. Everything that you do is based off your zero at 100 yards.
And so when you're getting out your calculator and figuring out your adjustments for range, you now have effectively created kind of what you get from your like tactical fancy whiz bang sniper scopes.
Right. Those scary things on top with the numbers and all that stuff. And you see them in the movies where the sniper's like 1 click, or 2 clicks to spot or something. That's what this is. You already have it. These are just capped because uh, this scope is pretty much used for, zeroing and just
Set it
forgetting.
and forget it.
Set it and forget it. We are going to use these as scopes that have adjustable turrets. And now what we've done is a zero. So once we do this and we go out to 200 yards, what we're going to do is we're going to take shots. Now you could use a ballistic calculator that we recommended, but Alec pointed out that it's not really important. I mean,
Mm-mm.
you don't
It's not
need
necessary.
It's not necessary, correct. It'll probably save you on the ammo. It's probably not going to be dead on, but it'll get you to where you need to go. So when you open up your ballistics calculator, it's probably going to be your cartridge. You'll sometimes put in your atmospherics. Sometimes you won't. Honestly, I don't think it's going to matter that much for 200 yards, unless you're shooting the 22 or something like that. But based off of 5.56, let's say, what you want to do is look up at 100 yards. That's my zero. You'll start going down, and it'll probably give you 150 or it does or whatever you set it to. But at 200 yards, next to 200 yards, there'll be a box, and it'll tell you, I don't know, what's the average MOA, I guess. So mine is 1 mil at 200 yards, give or take. So about 3.6, call it 3.7
Inches?
MOA,
Oh, yeah, something like that.
something like that. So, without getting too into it, we want to go 1 MOA, no, 3 MOAs higher, right? See, this is the part that always gets me. Why don't you explain, Alec, and I'll do it.
So we're talking about dialing for 3 MOA,
Yeah,
drop at 200 yards, right?
correct. Yeah,
So 3 MOA,
it's three of these larger lines,
yes,
and in between those, remember we had 4 clicks, which are quarters. So
right.
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go up. See, I can't do it without looking at. So I'm gonna go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's 1. And I'll do that 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 3. So now, what I've set it at, see how the green line has moved? This is now 3 MOA higher um, than we were previously. I feel like I explained this better to you than I am right
Yeah.
now.
Well, you asked me to explain it, and my brain froze.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rodin's right. It's your minute of angle value. Whatever the ballistic calculator gives you is what you have to dial. So 4 clicks to a minute, 4 times 3, 12 clicks to get your adjustment.
The simplest, easiest way is it says up. Whichever direction it says up, just go up. The
Yeah,
the
that
the, the thick lines are your main number. So if it says 3.2, you go 3 big numbers and 1 small number
yeah.
line.
And that's worth reinforcing too, I think. When you are adjusting the scope, don't think of it in terms of moving your reticle, you are moving the point of impact. If you are shooting low, you need to dial up.
Yeah, whenever it says up, that means you're gonna. If you're shooting low, you dial up. Exactly what Alex said. So, should I explain that or no need to get into it?
I feel like that's like the basic need to know.
Yep. Then if you have a range that goes out to 300 yards, take your target out to 300 yards. The ballistic software, this is where it gets a little more important to have some kind of software. And again, like Alex said, this isn't going to be a precise end all be all number. It's just going to help you get your round at least on the target. So you're not chasing and wondering where they go.
Yeah, if you want to get out there and walk it in, um, you can. Nothing's stopping you. Get your notepad. Keep track of everything you've done to get where you go. Tall targets will be helpful in this case because it'll be easier to tell how much you're off by at different ranges.
You probably
But
want some kind of background that's not vegetation in case you get misses. A spotter would help too, like a buddy with like an optic looking downrange to see impacts.
yep,
But a
yep. So
software would pretty much get you on target, like on the within the frame, pretty much.
right, you won't be shooting bullseyes, but you'll be seeing where you're going.
Right. And by the way, that's not because of the quality of the optic or your software. uh, I use, hand loads. I give the software my exact muzzle velocity, all the data it needs. That it knows the atmospherics, and it's still there's fine tuning involved. So don't be surprised if you're shooting low, high. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But the fact is, you've done it. You're at 300 yards, and you've used the basics of what this is what I do. This is what we do. Like you just turn the knob and it does it for you. And it's amazing because when I started out, there was no information out there. There was nothing.
Hmm.
And now it's like you have all these ballistic softwares and YouTube channels and people like us, cool people.
You know, assuming anyone actually listens to this.
No one's ever gonna listen. You can say whatever you want. I don't even know why
That,
we're getting disclaimers and shit.
that's true.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Did you want to talk about mounting your scope?
Sure. So when you're mounting your rifle scope, you're gonna have rings like these. Non-listeners, I'm holding a scope with rings, or a scope mount of some kind. What you want to do is you want to get your scope, the crosshair inside, as level as possible. Um, I feel like we're gonna get way too into this.
Yeah, it could get complicated.
You just want to do
Um,
that, okay? You just want it to be as level as possible for
yeah,
reasons.
yes. You can do this in a pinch using a plumb bob, hang a weight from a string. So when you're when you're setting up your scope, you can get your vertical crosshairs in line with a true vertical. Gravity is going to pull that string straight down, so you know that that's level with where you need your crosshairs to be.
Why it
Would you
does
say?
that? I didn't say anything. I was gonna say why it does that. I don't know. No one knows. No one really knows why these things happen. They just do.
Magic, gravity, how does it work?
Um, yeah, that's about it. That's all I have for this. I feel like I could explain that better. I explained it better last time, but okay.
Leveling?
No, the whole dialing in and stuff. Every
Hmm.
every episode is not gonna be educational, by the way. It could just be us freaking talking about stuff.
Was this educational?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean,
I
how
hope
much
so.
do you expect from us? Throwing fucking pearls down here, man. Listen.
Grains of salt, anyway.
What?
Nothing.
Greens assault?
Right. Yeah, because earlier you said take it with a grain of salt.
Oh, take it with a grain of salt. I thought you were saying assault.
Oh, could be.
Yeah, you never know. All right. What are we discussing next time?
Possibly fundamentals, but we're making this crap up as we go, so it could change by the time we record another episode.
Okay. So we'll probably
Um,
not see you again, but if you tune in, we'll teach you more shit.
hopefully. If you happen to have any comments or questions, we have an email address. You can reach us at senditshow@protonmail.com. We are on YouTube at the Send It Show. So if
What,
hearing us isn't annoying enough, you could actually watch us.
what are we supposed to
You
say?
want
Like, subscribe, tell
like,
your
comment,
friends,
I, I don't know.
whatever.
Okay, is that it?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Hey, I forgot to hit record.
You did not.
Yeah.
I'll stab you.
No, seriously. Just do one
No,
more. Do one more time.
you're fucking with me.
I am. All right. Later.